What's up everyone, welcome back to another video. Today it is time to look at my first transfer plans for Double Game Week 20. What's up everyone, welcome back to another video. FPL Harry here, and today it is first transfer plans for Double Game Week 20. Of course, I'm actually recording at half-time in the Chelsea versus Manchester City game. As a Chelsea fan, we're 3-0 down. That game is not going to end in a draw, which means the Tottenham versus Manchester City fixture that was penciled in for Game Week 20 will take place. We will have that double game week, but it means we will also have had the announcement of the double game week for Manchester United. So Luke Shaw and Marcus Rashford in my lineup will have a double game week against Manchester City and Crystal Palace as well. My current lineup for Game Week 20 is as it is on screen, 3-5-2. We've got Mitrovic who came in this week. We've already got Luke Shaw who I brought in for Game Week 19. Very happy that I decided to make that transfer. I currently have two Manchester City players in Erling Haaland and João Cancelo. Cancelo, a big sort of red flag for me, not getting that many minutes. He didn't start in the FA Cup today, which did seem like a bit of a rotated team, which I can't decide if that's good or bad news. I genuinely think going forward, he's not really worth the money, and we'll talk about some potential replacements for him further down the line. I have four double game week players. Let me know in the comment section down below how many double game week players you have in your squad at the moment, any potential transfers you're going to make. We're going to talk about doubles, we're going to talk about blank game weeks as well, any potential transfers to my team, what I'm currently considering as a -8. While we do that, I'm going to try and hit 1,000 likes on the video. So like the video and let's get on with it. So, confirmed doubles that we've got over the next couple of weeks. Double Game Week 20, Manchester City versus Spurs. Adding that in, of course, because Chelsea, Manchester City doesn't look like it's going to end in a draw. Manchester United, Crystal Palace has now been announced because there was no replay for either of those two teams. It could have been Leeds, but Leeds require a replay, which means they cannot double in Game Week 20. So, Manchester United versus Crystal Palace. If you don't have Luke Shaw, if you don't have Marcus Rashford, they are going to be hot property going into this double game week. We also have double game week in Game Week 23 for Manchester City and Arsenal being added on to their original fixtures. So Manchester City play Aston Villa in there, plus Arsenal, and Arsenal play Brentford, and then Manchester City as well. So we've already got now 3 double game weeks confirmed in the next few game weeks of FPL. However, that is not where the double game week announcements stop. We could have doubles in Game Week 21 and Game Week 22 as well. There's a small chance that they do put that Manchester United Leeds fixture going into Game Week 22. It is possible, not that likely, given that Manchester United doubling Game Week 20. They don't want to cram loads of fixtures in, but it is still possible. There is also potential for doubles in Game Week 21 as well. This could be Brighton, probably against Bournemouth. Again, they won't want Crystal Palace to double in Game Week 20 and 21, in my opinion. So the chances are, if Brighton get a double, it will be against Bournemouth. Arsenal against Everton, and then Chelsea versus Liverpool, also fixtures that could all go into Game Week 21. The chances are, if we get these double game weeks, they'll be announced before the Game Week 20 deadline. So please hold on to your transfers. Do not go making early transfers. Do wait for any announcements that could come. I'll be waiting right up until the Game Week 20 deadline before confirming any of my transfers. And then one of the other massive questions I'm being asked at the moment is, what are the potential blank game weeks that everyone is talking about? So the more simple of the two, it comes in Game Week 25, which is caused by the EFL Cup final. The midweek games that we've got this week, again, is the quarterfinals that we've got there. 8 teams left. There will be 2 blank fixtures. 2 fixtures will be announced. The 2 teams that get to the final, their fixtures will be cancelled, so their opponents won't play either. Manchester City are favourites to reach the final, plus it will either be Newcastle or Manchester United is what the bookies are saying at the moment. So we'll either have a blank for Manchester City and Manchester United, or Manchester City or Newcastle is what the bookies are saying. Of course, it will be the 2 finalists. But then we have a blank in Game Week 28, which is the biggest blank of the season. Normally is when people play their free hit, and that is caused by the round of 6, the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. We've just had the 3rd round, so they've still got to get through the 4th and 5th round. But if either team in that fixture reaches the 6th round, so the quarterfinals, that fixture will not take place. So you can see in the graphic here, Brighton versus Manchester United, both are through to round 4, so currently that will likely be a blank game week. Whereas at the bottom, you've got Nottingham Forest versus Newcastle, 2 teams who are both out, and that game, of course, will go ahead in Game Week 28. Chelsea looking like they're going to go out. Of course, I won't have time to update the graphic, but look like Chelsea-Everton will also be fine for Game Week 28, whereas Manchester City versus West Ham looks like a likely blank in that one, although they do play Arsenal in the next round. So not something to worry about with your transfers yet, but when we get closer, maybe Game Week 24, after the doubles we've got now, we'll start focusing a bit more on how we can plan, chip strategy, everything like that. And this is where we make our money. This is where we make our overall rank and our mini league wins, the later point in the season when we have the double game weeks. So now looking at my team and potential transfers, number one player that I'm considering selling is João Cancelo. Of course, doubling game week 20 now, doubling game week 23 as well. Does mean I'm a bit skeptical of really whether I want to go and sell him, but I don't see him starting either in game week 20. He might start one, is probably the best estimate. So I am looking at potential replacements. And the other transfers that I'm looking at as part of my -8, I do need to free up a lot of money. So downgrading Cancelo is an easy way to do that. Perisic has looked really good. He looks pretty nailed on at the moment. They do have a doubling game week 20. Game week 21, they do play Fulham, and then after that, it's okay. Manchester City, but then from game week 23 onwards, it does become nice. I could also go to Manchester City. Now, John Stones is probably the number one option I will go and buy because he's the most nailed. Game week 20 double and game week 23 double. Those extra 2 fixtures over your normal defender is very, very popular, I think, as an asset going forward. The other one that people will look at is Lewis at 3.9 million. Looks pretty good at the moment. Looks to be one of Pep's favourites in that Manchester City lineup. Doubling game week 20 and 23, as we see with Stones and Cancelo. You might want to go there. For me, it's too big a risk. Taking up a Manchester City slot on a defender who could easily be put back on the bench for a world-class player like Cancelo or like Kyle Walker. I just don't see him starting both in the double. I think starting one maybe, but I don't think he'll start both. So I don't think I'll be going with Lewis. I do think Cancelo down to Stones is likely to be a big money move for me. Some of you might want to go Lewis. Feel free to take the gamble, but it's not something I think I'll do. And then I have potential other transfers. Before we go any further, we're trying to hit 1,000 likes on the video. If you haven't subscribed as already, make sure you subscribe down below. So the other few transfers that I'm considering, Mitrovic all the way up to Harry Kane. Now, I've got some money in the bank. I've got a little bit there, but I would have to free up a little bit more if I wanted to do this. That Cancelo move down to John Stones would help me with that. Mitrovic, again, the fixtures are okay on the horizon, but Harry Kane looks very, very good at the moment. Even when Spurs are not performing, he's going to perform. And when they start to click, he's only going to go and get better. Game week 20 is a double. Fulham, Manchester City, then Leicester. But then from game week 23 onwards, the fixtures are really nice. Kevin De Bruyne, again, not performing that well at the moment, was rested in the FA Cup. Of course, has 2 double game weeks, 2 extra fixtures on the likes of Mo Salah if he doesn't get a double in game week 21. Mo Salah to Kevin De Bruyne is another transfer I am really, really eyeing up. I don't love the form that Kevin De Bruyne is in. I could go for the likes of Mahrez, who's performing very well. Jack Grealish as well. Those two look like they're nailed, but it wouldn't be impossible that Alvarez starts on the wing, Foden starts one, and De Bruyne is just the most nailed option that we have in that Manchester City attack. And given they have 2 doubles in the next 4, I just want the most nailed picks. And then finally, the other one I could do is downgrading Mason Mount, again, to free up money. He is starting tonight, so he looks like he'll be fine for the Fulham game in the last part of game week 19 and going forward. If I wanted to start him in game week 20, I could. Mason Mount to the likes of Almiron or to the likes of Mitoma of Brighton, if they get their double in game week 21, is also a transfer I'm doing. So I will be keeping an eye on those big doubles in game week 21 if they do decide, because Mount to Mitoma or a Brighton option could be really nice for their double. So this is my current lineup in game week 20. I have 4 doublers at the moment: Shaw, Rashford, Haaland, and then I have Cancelo as well in my defence. I am really considering this -8. Now, people will think, Harry, you're not going to take a -8. I really think it benefits my squad for the long term. I might not get a green arrow this week, but I really think it is worthwhile long term. Cancelo to Stones, it frees up money. I have Stones, who looks great. Pep's praising him. He looks nailed on. He's got attacking threat. He's nailed, basically, which Cancelo isn't. Mo Salah to Kevin De Bruyne. If there is no double for Liverpool in game week 21, add the extra fixture for De Bruyne this week. Add the extra fixture for De Bruyne in game week 23 as well. And then upgrade with the money that I free up, going from Alexander Mitrovic all the way up to Harry Kane, have him for his double and how good he looks going forward. Selling Cancelo means that the freemium option I've got here of Haaland, Kane and Kevin De Bruyne looks very easy for me to do. I plan on keeping Mason Mount for 1 week. If I think Cancelo is going to start both in the double, I could downgrade Mason Mount and keep Cancelo for this one. That extra move, that move I could potentially sway. But I do think a -8 is very likely for me now, given we have the doubles for Manchester City and Spurs confirmed, and Cancelo doesn't look like he's nailed. If you don't have Rashford and Shaw, I still think they should be top priorities for you as well. But the double-double that we have coming up for Manchester City means he has to be in here. I am starting Kepa over Danny Ward at the moment. The fixtures are pretty favourable for both of them, but the home fixture I'm going with, Ben White, again, could have started, but the double for Luke Shaw meant that I've gone with him. Greenwood on my bench, and then of course Patterson is injured. So -8 is truly on the cards. Looking at the double game week in game week 20 for Manchester City, Spurs, Crystal Palace and Manchester United as well. You could look at Crystal Palace assets, but they're so hit and miss. I think there are better options elsewhere. Drop any questions you have about my team, about your team in the comment section down below. Any questions about the double game weeks as well. We've covered this. I think it's going to be quite a short video. I feel like I've spoken so fast. Apologies if I have. Drop a like on the video if you haven't already. Again, we're trying to hit 1,000 likes. Good luck in the last fixture of Game Week 19. Good luck in Game Week 20 if I don't see you before then. We'll be back very soon with more videos, transfer targets, team selection, deadline stream, all of that to help you with your team. Like and subscribe before you go. Drop any questions in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back again very soon.